Hello everyone, I'm Neelakshi from Unicom Educare and I welcome you all to our channel. And in this video, I'm going to share some of the useful tips that have helped me to score Band 8 in IELTS speaking. I'm sure you have seen a number of videos where people share their experiences, how they achieved higher band score. But in this video today, I'm going to share some of the tried and tested tips which works for most of my students. And I hope that they will be useful for you also. So let's begin with the video. And now I'm going to share some of the tips. So the first one is speak more than the examiner. As you know, ये जो speaking test है, आपकी speaking ability check हो रही है English में, right? So you have to speak more than the examiner. Be chatty. Don't be smart. Just chat with the examiner. Think like he's your friend. The more you will chat, you will never run out of the ideas. अगर एग्जामिनर आपसे क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहा है एंड यू आर नॉट एबल टू आंसर देम, डोंट वरी, start from the beginning. Use your own personal ideas, elaborate the answers, use examples. But remember, you have to speak more than the examiner, otherwise they will ask more questions. The second tip would be, don't give memorized answer. It's a big no. Number of students, they search on various websites or they go to different blogs. वो देखते हैं वहाँ पर डिफरेंट आंसर्स चेक करते हैं, उनमें वोकैबुलरी को रट के जाते हैं एग्जाम में, एंड द एग्जामिनर हैज ऑलरेडी हर्ड ऑल ऑफ दोज. सो अवॉइड करें मेमोराइज्ड आंसर्स देना. व्हाट आई वुड रेकमेंड यू कि इंस्टेड ऑफ मेमोराइजिंग द आंसर्स, आप अपने आइडियाज पे फोकस करें, एंड आइडियाज will not be belonging to someone else. The ideas should belong to you. You're not there to show off your ideas. You're there to show off your speaking skills, right? So judging the ideas is not the criteria. What examiner is looking for is fluency and coherence, pronunciation, your vocabulary and grammar. So make sure that you focus on all these four aspects rather than only on ideas. बहुत सारे बच्चे अपने आइडियाज पे इतना ज्यादा फोकस करते हैं that they forget about their grammar. They take pauses, they make errors. उसकी वजह से उनका overall band score affect होता है. So now the third tip is avoid boring words. Like number of students, कोई भी उनको question पूछे, like it is good, bad, nice, ये वाले words use करते हैं. And apart from that, there are so many other words like really, a lot of, many, ये वाले words use करते हैं. So instead of using these boring words, make it interesting for the examiner. Instead of using good, you can use fabulous, fantastic, wonderful, amazing. Instead of like bad, you can say dreadful, detestable, abominating. Instead of nice, use pleasant. So आपके पास already जो existing vocabulary है, आप उसे better बनाए rather than learning some hi-fi words जो वहाँ पर जाके आप over complicate कर देंगे और आपके मुंह से निकल भी नहीं पाएंगे, right? So इसी के साथ हमारी fourth tip आती है, that is use vocabulary you are 100% sure of. Like ज़्यादातर क्या होता है, एग्जाम में जाने से पहले एक दिन पहले बच्चे पूरी लिस्ट ऑफ वोकैबुलरी याद करते हैं. दे क्रैम ऑल दोज वर्ड्स, हाई प्रोफाइल बिग वर्ड्स, जो एग्जाम में जाकर वो ट्राई करते हैं कि कहीं ना कहीं उनको फिट कर दें, एंड दे यूज देम इनएप्रोप्रिएटली. सो इससे बैंड्स काफ़ी डिडक्ट होते हैं. बैंड्स आते नहीं है, रादर यू टेंड टू कैच एग्जामिनर्स अटेंशन टुवर्ड्स नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स. So make sure you use only those words which you are 100% confident of. So another tip is use personal experience to answer the questions. Especially अगर मैं part 1 answer की बात करूँ, part 1 questions की बात करूँ, अपने personal experiences ज़रूर उसमें mention करें. Like what kind of food do you eat? Talk about the food you eat, not about someone else. Not talk about something fancy. You'll get stuck in between, you'll make errors and you'll panic in the end. So always remember, there is no right and wrong in IELTS speaking. Whatever you are saying, you are being judged on it, right? Like what do you do on your weekends? You know it better what you do on your weekends. They are not asking about any other person, right? If they're talking about do you like your voice, you should be knowing about it. Use your own experiences and elaborate the answers. You will never run out of the ideas. So my another tip, that is the sixth one, is intonation. Intonation is bringing expressions in your voice. Like ज़्यादातर क्या होता है, जब भी एग्जाम में बच्चे जाते हैं इतने पैनिक होते हैं और इतना इसको फॉर्मल टेस्ट समझ लेते हैं. like as if some interview is going on, and अगर आप कोई आंसर नहीं दे पाओगे, the examiner is going to beat you or deduct all your score. That is not the truth. Basically, you need to avoid robotic talk. You need to grasp the interest of the examiner in your speaking. जैसे हमें robotic talk avoid कैसे करनी है, जैसे talk about the time when you got when you received a gift from someone. It is a happy moment. You're talking about a gift, so show your happiness. And talk about a time when you lost something. It is something sad. You have to sound gloomy there. So अपने expressions लेकर आओ. You have to bring rhythm. You have to bring intonation in your speaking. It should not sound, it should not be monotonous कि जैसे किसी को hypnotize कर रहे हैं. It should not be like that. Intonation लाओ and examiner का interest बढ़ेगा and definitely he will give you more bands. Another is be polite and respectful. ज़्यादातर हमें जो एग्जाम में क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, those are related to our life and we have practiced them many times before appearing in real exam. So the students usually get over enthusiastic about it, over excited. My God, मुझे फूड पे क्वेश्चंस आ गए तो मैंने बड़ी पहले से पढ़ी हैं, मुझे वीकेंड पे आ गए, मुझे रीडिंग पे आ गए, I know all that. They don't let the examiner complete the question. You have to make sure the examiner finishes off asking the question and then you have to respectfully answer the question. Don't interrupt the examiner in between. That is very disrespectful. And the 8th tip is avoid negative answers. Well, this is my personal strategy which I use. I avoid giving negative answers because it is difficult to elaborate them. Negative answers को elaborate करना बहुत ज़्यादा difficult होता है because you tend to lack the vocabulary, lack the appropriate words. I remember I had a student and I asked him, do you like to read? And he said, no, I don't like to read. Assuming कि examiner मेरे से books के बारे में पूछ लेगा, कोई knowledge वाली चीज़ पूछ लेगा. This is not a knowledge test. You have to say something or the other. Like, do you like reading? Yes, I like to read different type of books. And recently I have finished reading of a novel which was this and that, whatever it can be, right? Don't give negative answers. Ultimately, you will find it difficult to satisfy all the questions because the examiner tends to choose one topic और उसके ऊपर 5 से 6 questions होते हैं. So if you say negative like I do not like to read, जो बाकी के उस पे questions होंगे, the examiner has to change all those and he might trick you with some difficult questions. So attempt the questions in a positive way. So our 9th tip is ask the examiner to repeat the question. Many times when examiner asks the question, बच्चों को समझ नहीं आता and वो try करते हैं उसको बोलने की, ये सोच के कि हम examiner को repeat करने के लिए नहीं बोल सकते. Well, you cannot ask the examiner to change the question, but you can certainly ask them to repeat or rephrase it. I vividly remember in my own test, in part 3 question, I did not understand one of the questions. So I asked the examiner politely, could you please repeat the question? And see, this sentence is in English and that's what the examiner is there to know कि आपको English आती है कि नहीं. So could you please repeat the question? Could you please rephrase this question? It's very polite and it is again in English and that is what the examiner is going to judge you on. And our last tip is don't take long pauses. Basically what happens, students often take long pauses while they are speaking, they go blank in between. So make sure, don't panic, just be confident in your exam. It's all about speaking. It's not a knowledge test. They are not going to see something which you have memorized over the long, when you try to complicate the things, you try to remember them. Keep the things simple, simplify all the things. Like long pauses ले रहे हैं, आप freeze हो रहे हैं exam में, उसके बाद आपका पूरा confidence lose हो जाएगा, आप आगे बोल ही नहीं पाओगे. So make sure वो situation ना I say something or the other. अगर आप एक जगह आपने pause ले भी लिया है, take a deep breath, start again. Okay, let me think about it. Okay, I'll get back to it, like that, right? So बिल्कुल एक लंबा pause नहीं लेना है. Say something. Always bear in mind that after so much of preparation, after paying a lot of fees, you are there in front of the examiner. You don't have to let this opportunity go wasted, right? So these were my tips for all of you. I hope these would benefit you in the long run. Please follow these tips in order to score band 8 or 9 and let me know your scores. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe it. Thank you so much. See you again. Bye-bye.